check one more time. All right, so now that's theoretically the live stream happening. Let's see what happens here.
Check the outside volume. Seems like everything's okay. Just gonna connect to. Try going on the Open Space website and going in that way as if you.
This is old, right?
That's old. I see, what is that? Is that another tab there?
No.
That's where it says live stream.
That's the step that we're in. But what I can do is just clean this out and reset this.
Yeah.
Actually, I'll just close it and go in completely cold. Okay. Okay.
You've got the stream. And check the outside volume. Deal with something. Which I'm not.
That's really old, yeah. That's like a cache almost.
Yeah. That was me checking to
Yeah.
see how I can reverse it.
Okay.
So this is me coming back now. Yeah, this is a cache. This is not live, actually.
Here.
Okay.
Yeah.
Let's go back to
This
the-
is before you.
Let's go back to the main Open Space web, the main page of the YouTube channel,
Okay. How do I get
or
back?
reconnect to it. I'm just wondering if there's
Oh, to see what's the options.
there's something below there, or is there another? Oh, this one says live.
But it's this one. Well, I don't know.
You've got the stream. Put it to.
That's the one we were just watching. It just got bumped.
watching.
Yeah.
Again.
So we actually want to watch this one.
Bumped, yeah.
Yeah. That's it. That's what's going on.
Fantastic.
That one just got bumped to the second row.
Yeah.
So what's the delay like?
Yeah. That's it. That's what's going on.
Fantastic.
That one just got bumped to the second row.
Yeah.
So what's the delay like? All good. Thank you.
Great.
That one just got bumped.
What are we done?
Formidable. Oh, will you check the sound outside? Just
Oh, yeah.
Formidable. Ça marche bien. Okay. But by the end of my time here, this will all work perfectly.
Yeah, exactly. That's the way it always
I
is.
always like that.
Yeah.
Thank you, Miles.
Should I leave this open or?
No, no, close it up. Thank you. At some point, I've got a couple of artworks. I will just need a couple of nails and a hammer, but no rush. No rush.
Should I just? I can leave that out.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's fine. Actually, I'll show you what they are so you can see without
Yeah.
judge what you need. Not even sure where they're gonna go. But I just thought it's time to start bringing down archival stuff. Oh, it's in the basket. Where's that basket? It's up there. I was telling Doug, the whole thing feels like, you know, you've moved into a new place and you're just getting used to where everything goes. So this is a larger one. And then this is a smaller one. I'm not sure where they're gonna go, but
Okay.
I'm wondering how I've got it hung up on the wall at home. I'm not sure how I should have taken better note of how I did it. I think just 2 nails in the back here.
Catching.
Yeah.
Is it the nails were kind of in catching
Maybe,
that groove?
yeah,
then that would
maybe.
be-
Yeah, good idea. Little finishing nails I could catch.
Yeah.
I don't need to.
Okay.
So again, there's no rush, just as long as it happens today.
Do you want to text me when you want to do it, or?
When it suits you.
Okay.
Do you have 2 little finishing nails that would work?
I do. Yeah, I can.
Okay.
Find, I know we do.
I
Yeah.
hope there's enough. I think that is a good idea. Yeah, just outside the spring, in the wall, and then tucking that, and then this is just like this.
A little nail small.
Yeah, one small finishing nail. And you would be wise to note that it complies to California, so call it AAC or whatever. You know, just from a technical point of view, that's a useful thing to know. Thank you, Miles.
You're welcome.
When you have a minute.
Okay.
Well, it seems like we're finally rolling here. I think I would like to burn some incense. Helps me to find my place, my breath, where I am in this space, looking out on a beautiful day in Victoria through this huge window. The window I'm talking about is this one, which looks straight outside onto the street. And across there you see a guy on his phone waiting for the bus. Let's see if you can see that. Yeah, there he is. And another guy walking by, not on his phone. So I'm gonna light the incense, which I'll do right here. I have to just quickly go get it. Incense, agarbatti, is a funny thing, because for lots of people it helps, it calms them, and as you probably know, it's used in all kinds of rituals. And then other people really don't like it. I've had people tell me that they're allergic to it. But since I'm more or less alone down here, and far away from any sprinklers, I don't have to worry about other people or concern myself with setting off the fire alarm.
Is the live working?
You can come in to visit.
Is the live working?
Yeah, the live's working, yeah. Yesterday we had 3 people. Woo, 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 woo.
Nice.
Huge audience.
Starting. We didn't do any announcement or publication yesterday for that, right?
I don't believe so.
Yeah.
It says, well, you can see, come and see, take a look. This is Amina. She works here at Open Space. She's a writer and a photographer.
That's a nice introduction.
Oh, what? Okay, what should I say then? You don't like that introduction? How should I describe you then?
No, I think
And she's a giggler as well. She likes
that's
to
true.
giggle.
That's true. 100%.
So here, Let's see.
By the end of my
Oh,
time
that's
here,
an old one. That's an old cat.
I thought it was like that. Thank you.
I think this might be me smiling at you. It's a little bit on delay. I think this might be me smiling at you. It's a little bit on delay. 10 seconds.
Mm-hmm.
Not even. Might be me smiling at you. It's a little bit on delay. 10 seconds. 5 seconds. Not even. Might be me smiling at you. And it's a reverse image, which is often the case in these 5 seconds. Situation. Zoom does the same thing.
So is it in
And it's
YouTube
a
right
reverse
now?
image, which is often the case in these 5 seconds.
Is it in YouTube right now? Or
Yeah,
it's
it's on YouTube,
okay.
yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, and the idea of putting it on YouTube is so everyone can look at it.
Yeah.
With Facebook, most people, like I don't go
They
on
have
Facebook.
to be in Facebook at the same time.
Exactly. You have to have an account with Facebook and sign in. This way nobody has to sign in anywhere.
Yeah. Glad we worked it out. Okay.
Sign in.
I'm
This
gonna
way
get
nobody
back.
has to sign in anywhere.
Yeah.
Yeah, get to work.
Okay.
This way nobody has to sign in anywhere.
Yeah.
Yeah, get to work. Just kidding. Sometimes people take me seriously when I'm not being serious. Just kidding. Sometimes people take me seriously. That's another thing, I guess, is sorting out the meanings when people are being serious, when they're being teasing, when they're being sarcastic, when they're being cynical, and even when they're being more than cynical, when they're being obsequious, how do you say that word? Obsequious, that's how you say it. And a lot of that depends on tone, and when we hear these things, we have to kind of sort out, because the words are just the words, but the tonality and the context in which it's spoken, all of that is completely relevant as well. So I'm going to just shut down the live stream here for a minute, so it doesn't distract me. Talk a little bit. Somebody said to me yesterday that for someone who might just be live streaming, it's not exactly clear what is going on here. So I would like to try and make that a little bit clear. I'm doing a research residency, courtesy of Open Space, courtesy of Doug Jarvis, who's the executive director, and also the curator of this larger project called Sorting, an Archaeology of Performance. And it started with conversations about having done performances for 50 years now and having all kinds of residue from them, remnants, I like to think of them, performance remnants, what to do with them, because they're not artworks in the traditional sense. They're not objects that were created for the gallery. They were created for the performance, so they're kind of like props or costumes in theater, but that gives them perhaps a meaning that I don't want it to have, because those are generally associated with playing a character. And as we all know, the idea of theater is you have to suspend your belief and imagine or go with the performers into the characters and the era and the place of which the production takes place. Not always, especially in contemporary theater, that's not so clear. But historically, that's been the meaning of these objects. Whereas doing performance, objects can have all kinds of meanings, and they can slip from one reality to another without wondering or worrying, I should say, about transitions. So the sorting is done more by the audience in terms of making sense, rather than dictated from the performer. I once saw Laurie Anderson give a talk. Laurie Anderson's a fairly famous artist, probably most of you know who she is. Lives in New York City. She's in her mid-70s now. And she once said, if you're trying to talk about earthquake, was the time of the San Francisco earthquake of the 70s. In theater, you'd probably have to set up a context. You'd talk about being somewhere in the world. You'd have to figure out a way with the prop people and the costume designers and the set designers to make the stage look like it was moving and shaking, build them up into that, and then the performers would react to the idea, in character, to the idea of the earthquake happening. Whereas in performance, if you wanted to talk about earthquake and you had just previously been talking about shoes or the sky or the idea of cosmopolitanness, you could just switch and talk about earthquakes. You don't have to worry about all that build-up or all that context. That will often lead in performance to confusion as to what's going on, a lack of meaning, and performance is criticized for that many times, sometimes rightfully so, because the artist refuses to put any context or any meaning, and nevertheless goes through a series of actions that is supposedly leading to some kind of meaning at the end, which is not always the case. But again, that, like we discussed yesterday, that also has to do with the context of which the performance, the activity, the action is set in, but also in its reception, whether you're live with the person or you're watching online like we're doing right now. So what am I getting at here? I'm trying to say that that sorting, that way of making sense of an artwork conforms to some extent to the form and the format of the particular art form. So if you go to the theater, you know you're going to sit down, the space is going to darken, and then the performer will come out, and sometimes there's even a curtain. At this late stage of the game in 2026, there's still a curtain. So, hi. Someone just stopped by to say hi. Whereas in performance, that context is not always explicit, and that leads to misunderstandings, to boredom, to WTF, what is going on here, and it's a continuing issue for people who do exclusively performance, which really comes out of a kind of visual arts cabaret tradition, and is found in many places in the world. It's not just a Western thing. So that sorting that takes place to make sense of something is a way that we all do to make meaning, and we make meaning out of whatever we see or hear or smell or touch or taste every day. And the assumptions about what we're seeing, the assumptions about how the meaning is made, can get scrambled. And that puts performance in a particular place, in that it's almost by its nature, it's kind of experimental. And it's both playing with the audience, but assuming a certain level of intelligence of the audience that the person or persons watching is flexible enough and imaginative enough to make their own meaning. That's why art that is political, while of course it serves an important function in our society, and especially now in the times we're living in, but at the same time can be too prescriptive. It can be too leading the audience to a certain conclusion, and it's a difficult moment to figure out where that kind of work slides into propaganda. It's kind of like art with a message turns into agitprop, turns into propaganda. And it's not that I really have a problem with propaganda. I think it's needed sometimes. We need to make the case for the things we believe in. We need to make the case for things that we see that are going on that are inappropriate, especially in the times we're living in. But sometimes I have a problem with people who define that kind of work as art. Art that gives answers, or activities that give answers, presentations that give answers, publications that give answers, are not necessarily really art. I think whatever art is, and I don't want to be the one that's sort of trying to define exactly what it is, but when it's good and when it's useful and when it's provocative and when it touches people, whether intellectually, emotionally, or spiritually, it's asking questions. It's not giving answers. It's saying, what do you feel like when you feel like this? How would we resolve this political problem between us? What is it like to be in that kind of relationship? And so you walk away with a sense of your own capacity and your own imagination that's been enticed by what you've seen or heard. Whereas if you're going to a piece that's giving you answers, and again, I want to stress they're both valuable ways of doing things, but you're coming away with the answers. You're coming away perhaps with new information. Well, I didn't know that about Wales, or I didn't know that about gender identity, or I didn't know that was going on in the Middle East. And I didn't understand that perspective before. So I think it's a way of distinguishing, but I also think sometimes it's impossible to distinguish when things are sliding on that continuum towards art as propaganda. And the other danger, I think, with art as propaganda, and we've seen this historically through history, is once it becomes propaganda, then it becomes exclusively ideological. And again, I don't have a problem with working ideology into art practice, but when art becomes exclusively ideological, then you're telling people, not only you're giving them answers, but you're telling them what to think and how to think. And I think that the role of art in all societies is to open up how we think, for us to think about how we think and how others think. And that will help us with questions of empathy and compassion and dare I say it, even of love. All of those are qualities that are under attack these days. I wanted to it's a very simple word. Very straightforward, very easy to understand. Amour. Pretty sure most Canadians know what it means, regardless of who they are. But just in case, it does mean love. And maybe just by looking at it and having it alongside the incense like this, people walk by with a bemused look on their face. I think they finally figured out that this is not a retail endeavor. I'm not actually selling anything to anyone. And yet they're not clear what it is that's happening. And that makes them, I wouldn't say they're repulsed, but they're not attracted to what's going on in here. The odd person is, and the odd person stops and engages, but generally speaking, they don't. And it is that feeling of like when a stranger might decide to talk to you. Unfortunately, in our society, we're wary of that. And wary of that. He stopped, but then he got afraid. He smiled. I mean, there's really nothing that I can do to hurt anyone or accost them. I don't want to do that. But I'm separated by a wall and by this glass, so it's hard to imagine that people actually need to be afraid of an old man talking in a storefront. But maybe afraid is the wrong word. They're just more like apprehensive about the meaning of this. And maybe they feel that they're going to get caught up in something that they regret, as a person might do when somebody's trying to sell them something. Somebody comes to your door and tries to persuade you to do something, or you see it on the internet or in social media, or even sometimes people call you on the telephone or text you to try to entice you into something. Well, I'm not really trying to entice anybody into anything. But given the nature of our consumer-oriented commodity, capitalist-driven commodity world that we live in, where everything and every experience is turned into a monetization, it's hard to imagine that something could exist outside of that. And we only begin to communicate with other humans when we can trust the situation, among friends at a dinner, or among intimate partners, or any within the family context. Then people can interact. They're not afraid to speak, to hug, to kiss, to hold hands, to eat together, to be together. It's unusual to have a circumstance where someone is making an overture to you that is either non-commercial or non-threatening or non-sexual, or it's just a form of communication, but it's peculiar and unusual. So why bother to engage in it when you've got somewhere to go and you're on your phone as you walk by anyway? That's the whole rhythm of it. Da-doom, 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 da-doom. How can you tell if I'm live streaming if I'm not speaking? Well, what about this? Something happening, just no audio. Gonna check my parking because yesterday I got a parking ticket. And I don't want to get another one. Book from two friends of mine in Minneapolis. I keep saying I'm going to open it and start writing in it, and yet I can't seem to bring myself to do that. It's still blank. Beautiful cover though, no? As much as art takes place, as we've said, in a cultural context, it all takes place in some kind of emotional context too, so that the same piece in the same space, a different person can interpret it entirely different because of what they bring to that moment. Maybe their emotions are heightened because something had happened that day to make them that way. Or maybe they just felt particularly vulnerable that day. Or maybe they're just a super sensitive person. I've been to events which affected me in a certain way, but not in any kind of dramatic way, and the person I'm with was crying. So who had the right interpretation of what took place? Maybe it's not about right, but it's just about individual specific interpretations. And that's what art can do. We should try to stay emotionally open to those moments. Being open to them all the time is dangerous and can cause mental dysfunctions. Sometimes the most sensitive, beautiful people find it difficult to function. We all know people like that. But that doesn't mean there can't be moments in which we can be open. And in the presence of art is a good time to do that. Generally speaking, those moments take place in a safe space. And when you're in a safe space, you can open a little bit, open your third eye, open your emotional availability, open a channel to your spiritual context, whatever that is. And give the art a chance to affect you. Try to drop away from the cynic and the critic and the, oh, I don't get this, or this is done wrong, or and the technique is not what it should be. Just let yourself be immersed in it. Later on you can discuss what's wrong with it. Because that moment of engagement is the moment of openness, or can be the moment of openness to what the piece, whatever it is, offers to you. I think people that really enjoy going to artistic events or being at home and participating in that way have a desire for that openness. And so the act of being in the presence of art becomes kind of addictive because you want to touch that feeling. I know for me that feeling is related to the idea that if I'm in the presence of a work of art that moves me, it helps me to understand what I want to do. It gives me ideas for my own practice. That's a really wonderful feeling. But you don't have to be an artist to open yourself that way. You don't even need to self-describe yourself that way. You just have to be an open-minded and open-spirited human being that can allow that to enter into your space. Even artistic practice that you don't understand, maybe it comes from a different culture, one that you're not used to and you don't understand the codes or the formats. Somebody at the window here. I don't want to scare them away. It's a strange process. Oh, they just left. Yeah, I'm wondering about this really. What, I wonder if it would be different if there were no glass here, because it forms a very profound barrier and separates me from the folks that walk by. Let's see what happens if somebody walks by now. There's a guy. Yeah, he's going too fast. He's a person with a purpose. Let's see if there's another person going by. It's also kind of noisy out there. There's somebody. Oh, He's wandering, but he's not even looking over. You can kind of tell the tourists from the people that live here, because people that live here have a purpose. They're going somewhere, and going somewhere is over here, down to the water. I don't know if you can get a glimpse of it there. There's a bike path right out front too. Well, so that's something that everyone can decide on their own terms, what it is actually they're looking at. That's from a piece that was commissioned by the Vancouver Museum, an outdoor public art piece, asking, it was called Work Not Work, in conjunction with the Mayworks Festival. And the point was to look at human activity, in this case artistic activity, building a public sculpture collectively from pieces that people brought down, objects, things, and ask if this was a leisure activity of just sorting into the box of, oh, well, we're just having fun and it's leisurely what we're doing. Was it work? I was, after all, getting paid for doing it. I had to show up every single day and do it at a certain time. Was it play? There were playful activity surrounding it and laughter and having fun with it. So was it just play? And ultimately, I guess the question was it art? It became art because it was at a museum in the beautiful courtyard with the little pond and everything. And because there was an artist doing it, and because these signs kind of indicated that that's a possibility of how to understand it. Would it be immediately recognizable as art? No. It could be recognizable the way children play and make little installations in the sand. It was like that, only much, much larger on a more adult human scale. But it didn't create anything that would be immediately recognizable as art. So it's hard to say. And the piece itself was trying to provoke that. That way we sort activities that were at one time very clear. Okay, this is art because it's in a salon, it's in a gallery, it's for sale at an auction, it's being displayed in a catalog. From contemporary artistic practice, which is often not clear to distinguish whether it's art or not, intentionally so, to open and broaden the activity of what artistic practice can be. So Marcel Duchamp and other people, both in the Western world and not in the Western world, throughout the 20th century were asking the question, what is art? And now another way of sorting in the world that we live in today, 2026, would be to ask the question of when is art? When do we allow what we're seeing, what we're experiencing, what we're understanding to be sorted into the category of art? Is the cars going by on this busy street, the bicycles, the pedestrians, is that art just because I'm observing it? What if I were to make a video of it? What if I were to make a video over and a video about it and then talk over it? What if I were to take those images and edit them in a certain kind of way so they were collaged together, and instead of speaking I just made sounds over it, and then with the finished videotape I put it in an art gallery on a video screen? Would it then be art? How would those remnants and those fragments, I guess they are, of contemporary life be rearranged and resorted into something called art. You see that even in the concept of a simple painting, where paints and brushes, or however it's being put on by pastel or whatever, can suddenly become something other than it was on a paper, on a piece of Bristol board, on fiber board, on cork board, and then put in a frame with a glass over it, and then put in the gallery. Well, then it's art. But before, what was it? Before it became art, what was it? Was the process of doing that, actually was the process of someone else doing that and me observing it. Was that art? Was that an artistic moment? When is art? When does art take place? When do we allow ourselves to say, this is art? Maybe we need some kind of resorting as to what it is. Some kind of way of saying that art is like this bypass pedal by my foot. That I can see the bus leaving and the sounds that it's making and the smell that it creates from its diesel engine as a kind of artwork. Because I'm in that state, I'm ready to receive it as such. But another person might say, well, you're kind of crazy. That's not art, that's a bus driving up the street. But then what is a person on stage, an actor playing a role? What is she doing? We say that what she's doing is art because we're in a darkened theater watching her. But what if she was doing that and saying it wasn't art, that it was a deliberate provocation to see and to understand what she's doing not as art? Like Marina Abramovich does sometimes and blurs those lines. She has a famous piece, I'm sure some of you have seen it, called The Artist is Present. She made a film about it, or someone made a film about it, where she sits in a gallery, I think it might be the Whitney or the MoMA, I'm not sure, somewhere in New York City, and she sits at a desk. She doesn't speak for hours at a time. People stand in a circle around her, and on their own invitation, not on hers, they come and sit across the desk from her, and she simply looks at them. She doesn't speak, and they look at her, and they stay for as long as they want to stay. For some people, that's a cause for giggling. For other people, it's intense swearing and staring, I should say, not swearing. And still others, it becomes emotional, where they start to cry and they react to being in that position with her. It's a very intimate kind of relationship. You're inches away from her face, but she's not speaking, and she's not even reacting. She's just sitting there looking. And it has a different and sometimes very profound effect on different people, because the artist is present. So when is art? Or is it the people in the circle, the folks who are watching this, are they the ones that are completing the piece? She often says that to truly understand her work, it needs to have an audience, because the audience completes the piece. The audience is the one that goes along with whatever the format is, whether that is the disbelief of believing the character on stage, whether that is the disbelief of understanding a character in a novel that you have to create in your own imagination, or the disbelief in an art gallery, or the disbelief at a sacred ritual presentation that's outside of the gallery, that might even be outside, or in a longhouse, or somewhere that is not normally, and I use the word advisedly, considered in a Eurocentric way to be an arts space. I'm curious. To see what the live stream looks like. To see what the live stream looks like. It's on a delay. Might feedback now, but let's have a look. It's on a delay. Might feedback now, but let's have a look. It's on a delay. Might feedback now, but let's have a look. So if I say this to you, 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 so if I say this to what I am saying will eventually disappear. 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 What I am saying will eventually So when I close my computer, the echo will disappear, but the sounds that I just spoke will always be there waiting, whether they're there on YouTube or whether they've rebounded out into the world. In either case. Now there's a City of Victoria guy here putting up no parking signs. Not sure why exactly, but he's suggesting that where one can normally park is no longer a parking spot. Let's see what he's up to here. Yeah, he's just putting up no parking signs, no stopping actually. Must be some activity or some event that's coming, or that has already come and gone. Looking at his phone. And finishing what he started. always be there waiting. Whether they're there on YouTube or whether they've rebounded out into the world. Any
Chris.
Hi, Molly.
You have that level, you do. Okay.
You being a guy that hangs art all the time, I'm thinking of this. Just pull back first. Kind of like one with that line over there, but have the text lines out. What do you think? Just step back and see if that should make sense. So they have a kind of relationship to each other.
Yeah.
And they're lined up with that, and then they can come off easily too, if something else is going to be there.
Okay.
Okay.
Is this that's the top?
That's
That's
the bottom of that,
yeah. And just so this
So
is the top.
yeah.
Okay.
So something like that. We'll just do that one first, and
Yeah.
okay.
Okay. Let me grab the notes here.
And then we'll level this one.
Do you know where you want that one?
Where's that marker?
Where the marker?
Something like that. Does that look right with that line over there?
It's, I mean, if the top edge would be a bit higher, if they're actually
Like that?
or, yeah, that's your line there.
Okay.
Yeah.
So do the left one, and then we'll level this up.
Hopefully this is like.
I like your idea of putting it in the groove if you can.
Yeah, so if we pull that away, then
Yeah,
I'll.
I see what you're. Well, you don't want to accidentally break the glass?
No.
Now, if we want to level that up, please. Just step back and tell me what it looks like. Does it need to come up on the right?
The right needs to come up,
Yeah.
there.
Okay. Okay, I'll just,
Okay.
like, really tiny. You were just below where it needs to be, but not much. Yeah, something like that.
Yes, sir.
Ooh, close to the cigar. Let's push it. Yeah. Does it look straight? Never mind if it is straight.
It does look straight, yeah.
That looks okay?
It does look straight, and the paper is not straight, but the words look
Oh,
straight.
yeah, I got fucked up, I guess, from, yeah, the word is, well, whatever, it's okay, it just is what it is. It's a research residency, it's not anything real. Okay, now this, you'll have to just tell me where. I think the text lining up is good, rather than this or this, right?
Yeah.
And then, which way this way?
A little bit to the left there, yeah.
Something like that?
Yeah.
Like that? Do you wanna make it even? See what happens? Seems like it's, no, you've gone too far, come back. Yeah, I think you're right, the two spaces, here, hang on, I've got a tape here. The two spaces should be even though it's smaller, I was thinking because it's smaller, but I agree with you. So, 7 and, what do you want to take it to where? 7 to the 8, let's say. Go that way. Okay. Just see if it looks good. Yeah, strangely, it seems too far away.
Now, are you looking at the words?
Yep.
Or are you looking at-
So go to your right. I don't think it matters that much.
Yeah.
It matters the relationship more.
Yeah.
And given that it's smaller, it kind of makes, so keep coming to your right. Okay, right. Now go back just a half inch. Yeah. Perfect. Okay.
I'm just gonna grab my little pencil.
That's a pencil I stole from Open Space UK. Okay.
Okay.
And I think just one nail should do that.
Sure.
Do you think so too? Or I guess you could put two. It's California certified, so it shouldn't be a problem.
3. pencil image from that bench.
How many shows have you hung on? More than you can remember, probably.
Funny, although I still don't, oh wait, can you?
Maybe
hold on.
that's what's do things. Although you still.
Oh, I still, it's always kind of new, and sometimes the math of hanging, sometimes it takes me a while to wrap my head around, like, what am I
Yeah,
measuring, especially, it shows like, sometimes
the pieces are not equal in size.
it's not equal in size, and sometimes trying to do things with math is more pain than it's
I'm
worth.
just gonna go inside. So, let's see if I can put this.
I have some magic erasers that I can
Okay,
come back
if you don't mind.
Yeah.
Yeah. Let me just see what it looks like.
Yeah.
Yeah, technically our audio is being picked up, but.
Okay, that's fine. And I have, that other tray with the other trolley with the trays cleaned. You don't know with all the.
Yeah,
trays,
I'm not
so-
sure where would I put it?
Yeah.
It
Well,
could go, it's below this, isn't it?
it is. It's available when you.
Okay, thank you for reminding me of that. I more or less saw it for paper, but I haven't brought that much paper down. This whole thing is, as we go. Have you got your level stuff?
I do.
Let's just put it on the low down and see. It feels to me like it's running downhill to the right. Yeah. Needs to go, okay, that's better, thank you. Think that's secure enough there? The other problem is it's on the door. Yeah.
Yeah, that is kind of with the
Maybe
magnet.
we should go here. We're asking for trouble.
But I have some earthquake putty that I
Okay.
can just
Okay.
a little sticky that I can stick on the
Okay,
back.
okay, if it's not too much trouble.
No,
Okay,
it's still, you're right though, it's on the door.
but the putty would help.
It would help it from
Yeah.
there.
Maybe even a couple of pieces here too.
Yeah.
Because the whole thing shakes.
Mhm.
Do you have time to do that?
Yeah, I do, I'll go grab it.
Thank you. And the magic eraser.
And the master receipt.
I said it had ended because I wanted to hang a couple of pieces. And now that they're hung, this is what they look like. If anybody's still there. But now, I think I actually am gonna end it. I wanna do some actual sorting. And when I stand up from here and do that, all you see is my fat stomach or something else. You don't actually see what's going on. So I am gonna end it now. Thanks for watching, whoever's been out there watching. Does it work?
Yeah, it works pretty
Stuff
good.
is amazing.
I know.
Huh.
Eventually it takes the paint off, but
Yeah, that's a. Yeah, I hope that it won't fall because it's on the door, but let's see how this works.
yeah.
That stuff is pretty good, I've used it before.
Yeah.
Just looks like it's running uphill a bit. Just put your level. Oh, you don't have it.
Just took it. Let me go grab
Oh, yeah, that's much better. Didn't move at all, Mouse.
that. Okay, great. I brought a small level just for,
Yeah, no problem.
for convenience.
For if we do have plumbing problems.
There we go.
Perfect.
Very close. Now, want me to try in the bottom here?
Yeah,
Yeah.
I think so, yeah. That's where it's moving. Like 2 pieces on the bottom, maybe 1 piece on the top, just to keep it from moving sideways. I should straighten that out there. I want to have the clean hands what I do. I'll do it next time.
Oh, to straighten out that
Yeah,
paper?
you have to take the whole thing apart. It's not hard to do.
Okay.
It's okay for today. Thank you, Mark.
You're welcome.
Is that one straight too?
This one is very close.
Okay.
Like the left side would, or the right side
Could come down.
possibly could, the right side could possibly come up like,
Oh, come up,
like
okay.
a tiny, like it's very close.
That's good enough. It's close enough for Jaws. Okay, so, can we actually end this now? It's close enough to 5 to end it, I think. You can deconstruct it and leave it 5 for a change. Mhm.